There is one particular crypto altcoin that I have been screaming at people for a very long time to purchase because I strongly believe it is the one altcoin everyone must at least own a portion of in their portfolio. I see it almost as an alternative to Bitcoin in the sense that it's going to yield even higher returns in the safest possible way and stand the test of time, and also perform extremely well in 2025, which seems to be a sort of two-sided angle most cryptocurrencies can't boast to have. And that, of course, is Hedera HBAR. Now, I want to say for the record, guys, most of you know about Hedera HBAR, but I'm guessing very few of you actually know what it does and why it just lives up to those expectations I've just mentioned, okay? So in this video, I'm going to take you through what Hedera obviously is, and I'm going to go through step by step why I strongly believe it's going to be a great fit for 2025, but also, and most importantly as well, beyond. So let me now take your attention to the screen here. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. Right now, the price is under 5 cents. And again, I've been screaming this number at people for a very long time now. It recently had a pump up to about 7 cents because of some good news, and we'll talk about that good news momentarily here. But again, it's on a dip right now, and if we zoom out into 1 year mark, pretty much it has been cheaper than this, but again, not by much. We're just under the 5 cent mark, and it's pretty much been trading around the 4.5 cent mark upwards for most of this time in the last 12 months, okay? Minus the time where the cryptocurrency dipped the most at the start of the year. Now, if we move into the chart here, guys, why is HBAR that guy? Why am I so keen on this project, and why do I think, and I'm pitted next to essentially Bitcoin, okay? Well, let's go over, of course, in the most non-financial way possible. So, to do well in 2025, any project must have a powerful narrative or narratives, a powerful meme or kinetic meme, and upcoming news or upgrades that will draw in the entire crypto market. We don't want small little micro news that gets the fanboys excited. We want big news that's going to bring in the whole market and pump the price up for everyone involved, okay? Now, this is because 2025 will still be a very heavily speculative market, okay? We aren't dealing with reasoning and research. As much as you find YouTubers, and including myself, screaming and telling you about all this fundamental analysis and research and do this and do that, what matters at the end of the day in 2025 is that people want to buy the project. And who are these people? Degens, right? Or teenagers that think the project's cool. We have to actually factor this in. If we don't, we're literally going to be buying a fundamentally awesome project, but the money won't move there. And that's why I think it's hard for projects like, HBAR, all these utility projects to be good in perpetuity, plus 2025, but also be good and a fan favorite in 2025. It's hard to have both, but again, HBAR does in my opinion. Next, it also must provide these three characteristics. So a guarantee to prosper as time goes on. Again, like Bitcoin, it's just going to get better and better and better. Number two, just as, if not more safe than Bitcoin, aka anti-collapse. We don't want it to, collapse in the meantime while we're holding it. And number three, generate a return on investment at today's price that overshadows Bitcoin by at least a factor of 2, which means 2x whatever Bitcoin gets, okay? So it obviously has to be a very good investment, otherwise we may as well just throw money in Bitcoin, okay? Now, in addition to HBAR being capable of fitting the 2025 so-called speculation theme, it must also be forward compatible, able to stand the test of time, and have a high unlikely chance of ceasing to exist, aka this is now where we look towards reason and research, because that will come into fruition, I believe, when frameworks are in the market around 2026 to 2028. Again, speculating on that, but it probably will, okay? So moving down, let's look about some speculation here, right? 2025. The first thing, of course, is finding the narrative. Now, this is my sort of three-prong approach to finding projects without doing any more research. You can find a good project by just looking at these three things. Number one, of course, is where is the most amount of money going to flow on the widest possible sense? Well, that's narratives, okay? We're not looking for Bitcoin, layer 1, layer 2s, high caps, low caps, mid caps. We're not doing that anymore, right? What matters more in 2025 will be what we saw in 2021, which is narratives. And as you can see here, this is essentially a lot of the large layer 1 networks, and we can see HBAR over here. And what did we find? Well, obviously, as you can see for yourself, most of these projects did have a tipping off point at this particular time in the market, right? Just before the Bitcoin top happened, okay? Not all of them did, okay? Some of them like Sol, Nia, and BNB didn't really, AVAX as well, and also Elrond, matter of fact, right, or Multiverse X. But the interesting thing is here is you got to look at the really nuanced things, okay? So you'll look at when the project launched versus the older projects, okay? Things like that do take into effect, and also news and events, which is why I also will talk about this for a 2025 perspective in a second. But what I'm trying to get at here is we must look at the narratives, and the narratives will indicate to us when we should see at least a pump. If not, it's all-time high. Because if you're someone, for example, right, going into the next market thinking to yourself, oh, I'm just going to sell all my money when Bitcoin goes to all-time high. Well, again, you would have missed, in this case, HBAR's all-time high, right? So not by much, but other projects, it can be quite severe, all right? So in this case, is the narrative itself powerful, okay? And if we come down here, we're looking at a couple of different things, primary and sub-narratives. Now, primary narrative is what everyone instantly thinks that project is known for. Now, obviously for HBAR, it's a layer 1 network. That's a primary narrative, and it's a very good narrative, 9 out of 10 on the scale of 2025 demand. Now, also, the sub-narratives, what is it building? What's the ecosystem looking like? And ideally, in the future, will become a primary narrative as well. So you think of HBAR, you think of layer 1, you also might think of tokenization, payments, gaming, AI, DeFi, IoT, supply chain. Now, as time progresses in these networks, these will come more into fruition. For example, supply chain right now and IoT is more prevalent in HBAR than anything like gaming and AI is. But these are things that are starting to spawn and can take any direction, okay? So if that makes sense, we're looking for, and again, this is all completely subjective. This is my rating. Most of these, as you can see, are 10s, 6, a couple of 4s, but the reason they're 4s is because they're 2025 demand. Again, my personal take on what will happen in that case. But the most important thing is this summary I've mentioned over here, right? During the bear market, we have seen developments that indicate HBAR might have strength in narratives that it wouldn't have as a standalone network. So if HBAR was just a single network, nothing built on it, doing whatever it might be doing, right? Well, of course, there's going to be no sub-narratives. There's going to be no additional possible chances the price will increase like we saw back over here, okay? These little random spikes, okay, can come from sub-narratives, all right? So this is thanks to the ecosystem and direct partners. I suspect these avenues will strengthen over time, leading to new primary narratives, as I've pretty much mentioned. So yes, all in all, I think that HBAR has a good mix of strong sub-narratives and a very, very powerful primary narrative, but it's one thing to look at where we could possibly find demand come into the project. Layer 1 season might pop up, tokenization season, gaming season. Okay, HBAR might benefit from those things. Again, equally dependent on how known it is for those things. But what is just as important there is what I call the meme. It's phase 2 of this 3-pronged process. And essentially, the meme will dictate where that money flows in from the narrative. So you think about it like this. 100 people hear about layer 1s are popping off this month. Oh, everyone starts buying layer 1s, but what layer 1s they buy? And this is where HBAR really starts to shine, okay? Take it like this. This is the analogy I always use. 100 green people, for example, were in a police lineup, and you had one pink person on the end. Again, who the hell are you going to interrogate first? Who is that standout person? It's the pink person. HBAR is a pink person. The only hash graph ever created, actually the founders of HBAR created the actual thing that runs the network, which is the hash graph, and a whole bunch of other features go into what makes it extremely special in my opinion, okay? So why? Why is this important? Well, it goes beyond just thinking about the meme in of itself. If you think about those narratives I just mentioned a moment ago, the way HBAR strengthens those sub-narratives is by having a quality base like a pizza, right? Pizza dough is the base. If you have a really nice pizza dough, it makes the pizza taste 10 times better. Since HBAR is essentially dough, or HBAR, the hash graph itself, is extremely appealing, you could say in a way tasty, right? It makes the dApps or applications built on top, which we could call toppings, so much more appealing because they are so much more capable. They have a strong framework to do whatever they want. A game is not limited by a smart contract in this case. They can do more things. And that is really powerful for the meme in HBAR because, again, this is where are most people going to gravitate to? People do basic fundamental research as well nowadays, which is good to know. At least we're progressing somewhere. So people are going to look for things like TPS, how many dApps are being built, anything like relating to transaction speed, finality, NFTs. You guys get the drill, and HBAR has a very rich environment to create those sort of things. And if we come back over down here, anything can build on HBAR because it's so flexible, right? This is HBAR's base, and these are the so-called applications, right? Nice little play on words I decided to do there, but essentially you guys get the idea, right? Because it's so flexible, you can create more things, therefore more developers want to come in, therefore people recognize, hey, project's doing really good because of high TPS, right? So the reason being, it's the only hash graph because that's why it stands out so much, right? Only of its kind. And because of that, you can have fair ordering of transactions which prevents issues that competitors can't. So you can have games, for example, where you can't front run my transaction because there is a time associated to my transaction, no matter how much gas you pay, which you can in Ethereum and other networks, to go ahead of my transaction, you can't in HBAR. It's all very, very fair, one after the other, okay? ABFT, which is just a type of security, asynchronous Byzantine fault tolerance, which means 1/3 of the network can actively be taken down and it will continue to run in perpetuity. Lowest energy consumption of any network, literally blows other proof-of-stake networks out of the water, so it fits into ESG narratives, which is what big companies are adopting nowadays. Therefore, it can be used for IoT and supply chain and is applicable to enterprise networks. Governing council consists of 39 industry leaders that govern the network, leveraging the smartest minds in diverse regions and across many industries. I'm not just throwing technical words out there, guys. I'm not just trying to make that sentence sound good. It truly means what I just said. 39, right now it's about 29 of the largest enterprises in the world, Google, Boeing, so on and so forth, are actually governing members themselves, which means they host meetings at their headquarters, like Google, for example, has. They do have a vested interest in the success of HBAR, okay? Also, unique and sustainable staking mechanisms. You have things like mirror nodes, which means any company can extract your data. Guys, I can literally go on. I was going to keep going, by the way. I decided not to because that in itself is quite a lot of information. Nevertheless, it does continue to go. And these aren't just things that I'm mentioning that's like bonuses or at least benefits. These are bonuses, guys. These are things that actually it has up on other networks. For example, those industry 39 governing council members. Would you prefer 39 of the world's smartest minds depicting the next phase of the network, or 39 sweaty, oily guys in their mum's basements depicting where the network went that you didn't know? I think most of us would agree HBAR has the win here, right? But you know the best part about all of this? It's not a pipe dream and it's not vaporware, meaning this isn't something that they're hoping to have done, and it's not purely speculation. This is actually real. Right now, there's an average about 1,400 TPS. I actually think right now it's probably more than that. Just hit 20 billion total transactions, used by companies like Kia, Hyundai, Avery Dennison, and partnered with companies that allow gateways to banks, MasterCard, and the entire US financial system via FedNow. Matter of fact, those upgrades I was talking to you about that help bolster the price up in the sort of bull run, which is what we see from things like random spikes like this that go against a possible narrative move. These sort of things will come from random upgrades, news, and so on and so forth, okay? So in terms of upgrades, I'll admit HBAR doesn't really have some massive things planned for 2025, at least on paper, because most of these large upgrades are already complete. And so what I'm sort of saying here is, while these small upgrades are significant to the network, they aren't significant to draw in that speculation market, which is what we're looking for. But there are some pretty important things that will come that will definitely bring this on board. One being the enabling of community nodes, which means the network will be more decentralized. More people want to spin up nodes. Hell, I might even see if I can spin up a node, for God's sake. And number two, a plan, which is not officially stated, to shard the network is in place, which would be a massive update. However, I can't officially say it will be completed by or before 2025. And by one of these roadmap events, modularizing certain services, which means breaking them apart into their own respective departments, essentially, so they can work together and kind of be the best form of themselves independently, and then come together on different things. That's the very, very bastardized version of that, I guess you could say. Well, essentially, sharding the network will do that, right? It breaks everything up, so HBAR can then ideally be extremely fast, right? So right now, I think it processes 10,000 TPS. I think it can theoretically go to 100K, but sharding the network, which means breaking the sort of network up itself into many different parts and then processing things independently, will speed the process up, okay? Division of labor, opposed to one network that does all the transactions in one. So that's what the difference there is. So when that comes out, I can guarantee the whole market will go crazy because it's just going to be insanely fast, okay? And so on the news side of things, in the last 4 weeks alone, we've had some massive things. One of Hedera's ecosystem projects called Drop featured in the FedNow service provider list, which is why it has connections to possibly the entire US financial system, essentially. Hyundai Motor and Kia introduced CO2 emission monitoring built on the HBAR network. So again, this is things like, tokenizing carbon credits and things like that, or at least using it for IoT/supply chain management, which is what that right there is. Hedera HBAR linked with banking and MasterCard for enhanced digital solutions through Fresh Supply Co. AU. This is a development happening over here in Australia with this company that is linked to MasterCard. There's some big things, guys. Look, I highly suggest you stay up to date. I posted this today on Twitter. I'm going to be posting daily content on Twitter from now on, and a lot of it will be inspired by HBAR because, again, I strongly believe it's one of those projects that everyone really needs to look at. I can't say own, but I want to say own in the most non-financial way possible because I don't want to get slammed for financial advice down below. So what are those things for the future? Well, one, a guarantee to prosper as time goes on, okay? So the governing council, board of directors, and it actually having Web 2/Web3 adoption right now, as well as it being extremely unique in a world where blockchain tech is also unique in of itself. So it's like super, super unique. Plus the ESG conforming narrative it has equals adoption is only the beginning. The current use cases for DLT technology is limited due to regulations. However, there is a wide opportunity for market penetration in every single industry in the world. And HBAR is so unique that it will only gain more and more interest. So yes, it will most definitely prosper as time goes on. Again, it's extremely unique. And I strongly believe, it's only going to get more and more powerful because the more networks like Kia, Hyundai, Avery Dennison, these Web2 companies that use it, the more networks are going to want to use it. All right, network effects. Number two, just if not more safe than Bitcoin, right? Anti-collapse. I might get some shit down below for saying this, but it's true. Bitcoin is a safe investment because people believe it will become some form of money or asset. HBAR, on the other hand, is just as safe as Bitcoin in my opinion because it has real application. It's not a pipe dream anymore and it's definitely not vaporware. Therefore, the chance that HBAR so-called dies is close to zero since it's now relied upon by actual businesses controlled by the governing council itself. So there is some risk involved there. HBAR isn't going anywhere anytime soon. There is too much skin in the game for everyone involved and adoption is only beginning as of right now. We're in a bear market for God's sake. You can only imagine what happens when people start to realize that, hey, there's a really good project in front of our eyes, okay? And number three, generate an ROI at today's price that overshadows BTC by a factor of 2. I think all of you guys understand that BTC will most likely go between 100K to 200K at its peak. And obviously my predictions for all of you that know is between 69 cents at the minimum. Please no one laugh at that down below. Reaching around $2, I believe, at its max, but most definitely could go higher than that. Therefore, BTC is about a 4x to an 8x. HBAR is about a 14x to a 40x. So far more difference there. Of course, these price predictions are very much so subjective, but I want to say I think most of us can agree HBAR is going to outshine Bitcoin and it's extremely safe in my opinion. Therefore, it's a no-brainer investment. Now, you guys can do what you want, not financial advice. I'm just really saying to you guys, be very well aware. We're going to find a transformation happening here with these utility projects very, very soon. And the ones that can also benefit from a highly speculative market in 2025 is just a cherry on top. Guys, thanks for watching. Talk to you all soon. Take care. Bye.